see the color running through your veins, and I can't breathe, and everything you do is pain. Oh, I can't see the color running through your veins, and I can't breathe, and everything you do is pain. Stop the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment, make it mine, hold you close, now my heart's wide open, when I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain, do you make it go away, do you make it? Stop the time, 'cause I wanna freeze this moment, make it mine, hold you close, now my heart's wide open, when I'm with you suddenly I feel no pain, do you make it go away, do you make it? Do you make it go away, do you make it? Do you make it go away, do you make it? Do you make it go away, do you make it go away?
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it. Good evening, everybody. Good evening indeed. Welcome to Chaz Draycott Media and welcome to another round of the NEVO British F4 series. I hope you enjoyed that brand new little NEVO promotional video there. We've made that as an intro to the NEVO broadcasts. It was something that was just missing from the broadcast up to this point, and I hope you enjoyed it, and you will see that on every single broadcast that we do here for NEVO. Now, we're here at a very gloomy and cloudy Snetterton for the next round of the championship, but as you see, I'm not alone in the commentary box. I'm joined once again by my wonderful co-commentator, Ed May. Ed, we've been discussing this circuit at great length before we came on air tonight, and we both have sort of love-hate relationships with it, don't we?
Oh, no hate from me. I fully love it. It's a beautiful circuit. My what I would call my home race, being from Norfolk myself, it's a really wonderful circuit. We're running, of course, the 300 layout. So as we go towards the Montreal hairpin, if you were on the 200 layout, you'd go straight onto the Bentley straight, down towards Brundle and Nelson. But with the 300, you go basically right back down again, down south towards Palmer, up towards Agostini, Hamilton, Oggies, Williams, and then onto the Bentley straight and the very technical Brundle and Nelson through the bomb hole, and then Corman Murray's. We've heard from a lot of the drivers, Chaz, that is going to be very difficult, trying to be turning right into the braking zone for a left-hander.
Yes, indeed. There's been a few drivers saying that the setup is going to be crucial around those sorts of corners because the weight transfer in these cars is very important. You know, they're not the most powerful things in the world. They get up to speed pretty well, and then once you are at speed, that's pretty much all that she's got, really. There's not much else you can do. So a lot of the time, it's actually getting the pace out of these cars that is the difficult part. Driving them alone is pretty easy. We're just going to have a quick look at the championship standings. Kane Halliburton had a fantastic debut in the series at the first round at Brands Hatch. He's on 47 points, but only 1 point clear of Fraser Smith, who won the feature race in great fashion. Hakon Grebstad finishes, well, he didn't finish actually, he's currently standing third in the championship, but unfortunately he's not here this evening by the look of it, so we hope to see him back for later rounds because he was an absolute star at Brands as well. Kane Ledger, fourth in the championship at the moment, 8 points back. Then it's Bart Daleman, Taylor Lane, Kimber Haight, Hans Polmans, John Barnes and Dan Berg are tied on points with Jean-Sebastien Larose as well. If we look at the teams championship though, well, Ignium Motorsport doing a wonderful job. The two of them had a podium in the first race of the season, so plenty of points going their way. They're 30 points clear of Full Send Racing right now, who have just 9 point advantage over Sim Stickers. And then we have Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco, and then Fiercely Forward just behind. It's nice and close between all of them, though, and to be honest, Ed, I think we're going to see a lot of that all throughout the season, aren't we, really? There's not many places for these drivers to sort of open up big gaps in this championship due to the point system.
No, not really, and I love that. I love seeing how close the drivers can get. I mean, it's only the first round, but 1 point gap, there's absolutely nothing in it between Kane Halliburton and Fraser Smith. But interestingly, Kane Halliburton, he dominated the first 2 rounds, didn't he? Winning the first and second race, but the feature race being a lot longer, scoring a lot more points, Fraser Smith was able to claw back that advantage to just 1 point. So that's going to be interesting to see how the drivers will approach tonight in terms of where their focus is going to primarily be. And of course, in the first sprint race of the evening tonight, it will be a reverse grid in championship order.
Yes, indeed. So we don't have to go through a sort of extra qualifying session or anything like that for this. The drivers will all disappear and then all of a sudden we'll grid up. And it is time for that already. Kimber Haight will start on the front row with Toby Ward alongside him. Then we have Austin Foster and Simon Price. It's good to see Simon making his debut tonight. John Tusting and Matt Alexander are on row 3. Matt is a good supporter of mine already, actually. I've known Matt for a short amount of time, but he's a very good guy. Hans Polmans is 7th alongside Dennis Gallo, the German. And it's Fraser Smith and Raymond Walpott rounding out the top 10. Kane Halliburton is 11th with Jean-Sebastien Larose in 12th place. And behind them we have Jakub Szymanski and John Barnes, then Justin Gerritsen and Wayne Palmer at the back of the grid. So, a nice tight grid here at Snetterton, Ed. Luckily they're not doing the 2x2 stagger that you often see in the real world, but is there anyone your money's on here tonight at the moment?
Well, you got to obviously keep your eyes open for Kane Halliburton, championship leader, right at the back there, but there's going to be some very interesting moves, I think, from the outside. Toby Ward into the first corner. Keep your eyes on him.
We will indeed. Toby in the black and pink boosted car on the left, but round 3 of the NEVO British F4 Series, round 4, is underway, and it's a nice tidy start by Kimber Haight. Raymond Walpott's had a horrible start, and he's dropped 2 positions already. Toby Ward's got Austin Foster looking down his inside. We've got Matt Alexander defending the inside line there as well, and oh no, Toby Price, Simon Price is gone, and there's big contact. There's plenty of cars involved. There is so many of them off. Fraser Smith involved. Did Kane
Halliburton's off.
Yeah, I was going to say, did he get involved in that? He is indeed, and there's damage on the car. It looked like Simon Price. I don't know where Toby Price came from, but Simon went around and started that one off, unfortunately. And it means that Kimber Haight and the 3 cars behind have got a fantastic sort of gap here to the rest of the field. On board with Matt Alexander, but if we look back from the car, look at that. There's no man's land between him and everybody else.
Yeah, Matt Alexander taking advantage of the spin up in front of him. Meanwhile, look at this, side by side, trying to find a way past Toby Ward, not quite able to do it. Austin Foster, we actually missed that. He got up into 2nd place ahead of the Boosted Motorsport driver there. So a great start there for Crockett Club Motorsport. 2 cars up inside the top 4.
We've got more issues. Fraser Smith off again here. I think he's got damage from the initial accident, and oh, that's it. That's it. Front left wheel broken on Fraser Smith's car, and look at the pit lane. It's an absolute mess of broken machines. Fraser already out the session. I imagine very, very annoyed at that one. But unfortunately, we've lost him already. Jean-Sebastien Larose, he's also off. He's fixed his numbers for this week, I think. There's still some sort of outline around them. It's funny, actually. We did ask the drivers to have the numbers all in sort of black with white outlines around them, like you see on Wayne Palmer's car here. But the one man that's been trying to remind everybody to do it and hasn't done it is Jakub Szymanski, who's still got red numbers on the car. There are a few of them with blue numbers and so on, but, you know, I'm not that picky about it. But still, I think it looks pretty good on the ones that have done it. John Barnes here in 9th place. Well, he's going to be hoping to gain even more places from this. Just looking at him and the cars ahead of him, actually, Ed, if we bring the graphic up, there's some of them have gained nearly 10 spots here. Justin Gerritsen's gained 9 places in 1 lap.
He's had a really good start there. Justin Gerritsen, the privateer driver.
Should we have a look back?
Let's have a look back, yeah. Let's have a look back at what happened at the start there, Chaz, because it was... well, a little bit of madness here. We're going to go on the chopper cam for Simon Price, who initially had that little spin. I think it was just mainly down to cold tyres and maybe getting a little bit wide. Just have a look here. So they're all going to fight together. Around the outside, Simon Price gives it a wide berth for cars on the inside.
It's just a check-up, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair, there's a bunch of them go off to the left, and I'm not quite sure what caused Fraser's damage, because it looked to me like he got away with that.
I think it might have happened through Hamilton, you know. That's an area where you see a lot of squabbling, especially on the opening laps, that doesn't quite end up nicely. That was just passing Jakub Szymanski.
Yep.
So it seems all right for Fraser Smith at the moment. He's got 1 car just up ahead of him. I think that is...
That's Walpott,
33 of Walpott, yeah. So goes up the inside into Agostini. Make sure it's nice and close. So then here we go, Hamilton, the danger zone. Seems to be a little bit all right, actually, you know. But visually, look at how much camber Fraser Smith is running compared to the others. That's very interesting. And then just... Oh,
Fraser's just broken late. That's...
Yeah.
I don't think he was
expecting... it slightly.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting Walpott to break that early. And, I mean, unfortunately, I have to say, I think that isn't on Raymond for me. He was braking where he was braking, and Fraser was just a bit close behind. Maybe a bit of red mist in there. It's easy to have that happen, but... If we have another look at it and we go from Kane Halliburton's point of view, he's right in the thick of this, but it's just a natural checkup, you know. Simon couldn't do anything to keep the car out of the way. Look at that start by Kane.
Lightning quick from Kane.
Goes all the way around Fraser, doesn't he? All the way around.
Inside now, and then he's just going to have nowhere to go. Gets hit up the rear as well, which sends him into the incident. So maybe if he... I don't know. It was going to be very tricky, of course. Turn 1 at Snetterton. Cool tyres, close pack racing. It's always going to be close, heart in mouth stuff. And unfortunately, well, 2 main protagonists of the championship in strife. Whoa. Wayne Palmer, well held, sunshine. Into Agostini, all 4 wheels sliding over the grass.
The lighting isn't doing much for those wheels, is it really, at the moment? It's killing the immersion a little bit, those wheels right now. But still, if we look at the front, as we had done just a moment ago, Kimber Haight is leading the way at the minute by about 2.5 seconds from Austin Foster. And then we have Toby Ward, Dennis Gallo, Justin Gerritsen now inside the top 5 after starting 15th on the grid. Second to last on the grid into the top 5 in 3 laps. Fair play, sunshine. But this is lovely stuff for Kimber Haight at the moment. I really need to sort these cameras out. I don't know why we're at 9,000 feet. But still, the Flemish Sim Sports guys are in the chat, and they're certainly loving it. Anton Dupin in there as well. Martin Deckens and Hendrik de Grave. They're all enjoying themselves watching the racing. Good to see you, lads. Dennis Gallo has the fastest lap of the race in the Dazzle Camo machine. Dennis Gallo, Dazzle Camo? Is that easy to say? Kind of. But he's doing all right at the minute, Ed. 147.9. That's not a shabby lap, really, in a Formula car, is it?
Yeah, reeling in the podium. Toby Wood currently in 3rd place. What can he do to try and give himself his first podium of the season? Both these drivers going for their first podiums of the season. There's Gallo. You can see just reeling him in lap after lap, but with only, well, 9 minutes to go in this race, he needs to get a little bit of a shift on. It's decently easy to defend around here, especially through this section now. If you manage to get all your exits nailed down, carry enough speed into these braking zones, it's very, very tricky to get up alongside and try and fight moves into Agostini, into Hamilton, and particularly Oggies. I mean, Oggies is a brilliant corner. I absolutely love it coming through there. You can properly send it if you get it right.
And it's Sean Gardner in the chat saying Dazzle Camo is boosted copyright material. I quite like that, actually. They always have very very sort of bright and colourful Dazzle Camo liveries on their cars. They're boosted. I've noticed a few different championships where they run sort of different looking versions of the camo. But they're doing well at the moment. Matt Alexander's in 6th place at the moment. He's one of like 3 or 4 drivers that are currently where they started this race. There's not many of them, actually. Kimber Haight is one, Matt Alexander the other, then it's Kane Halliburton and Jean-Sebastien Larose in 12th place. But Matt making his debut this evening in the number 4 car. And that's still 2 Crockett Club Motorsport cars inside the top 10. He is in 6th place. His teammate Austin Foster is in 2nd position. He loses championship points in my mind because he's not done his numbers black, but I still don't really mind that much. I'm just playing. Still, it's good to see him going well. Further back, Walpott is coming under pressure from Wayne Palmer again. Wayne is trying to dig his way through the field. He started last on the grid here, Ed, so he's got a bit of ground to make up, but he's doing it so far. Just, we saw that moment not long ago, didn't we? Here's up Simon Price there, just in the way of these boys a little bit. He's got back going again as well. He did tell me earlier, actually, discretion would be discretion would be much appreciated when it comes to any spins that he'd have. And, well, he's just been displaced by Wayne. Hard onto the brakes, into the hairpin, there you go. And another fastest lap for Kane Halliburton as he goes across the line. And he's done a really, really strong job at the start of this championship so far. Only John's doing all right, apparently. And yes, indeed, John Barnes up there in 7th place. They do have, you can just see it behind the front wheels. If we go on board, you'll see it as well. Rather than having only fans, they have Only Johns written on the car because I believe Toby's being called Toby John Ward this season. And then they've got John Barnes and John Tusting as well, who's racing in the number 99 machine. Here he is. Just making his way around Coram right now into the final corner. You can see how tight that is into there, into Murray's, and then you've got to use all the curb on the exit. John Tusting running a Jarno Trulli replica helmet because he races in what is effectively Jarno Trulli's Benetton livery in the Chaz Draycott Media Formula 1 World Championship, which is currently on a 6-week break.
I miss it, Chaz. I miss Formula 1. Bring it back. Come on, we don't need this break. We can get back to racing next week. Come on. Get us in there. Oh, I absolutely love Formula 1. Cracking racing. If you haven't watched it before, please do. On Chaz Draycott Media. You mean maybe not watching for me, because my races have not been quite going to plan in these most recent rounds, but, you know, there might be some good times around the bend, hopefully, maybe. Probably not.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to the next round mainly because it's at the Hungaroring and it's one of my very, very favourite circuits. My PC won't like me because of the frame rate, but I absolutely love that place.
There's going to be pressure on me, though, at Hungaroring, because as I am in Johnny Herbert's car, I believe that was the only round that season he managed to get podium in.
I think it was, yeah, in the Sauber. Yeah. And actually, a few years later, I'm pretty sure, Johnny Herbert won for Stewart at the Hungarian Grand Prix as well. Or was it the Nürburgring Grand Prix? I think it might have been the Nürburgring Grand Prix. The Luxembourg Grand Prix, as they call it. But, yeah, no pressure, Ed. No pressure whatsoever. I also am very happy about the Hungaroring at the moment because I'm going there tomorrow. I'm flying out there for Clio Cup Europe in the morning to Budapest. I'm there all weekend, getting home on Monday.
You weren't happy about how early your flight was, though?
Well,
happy about everything else, bar the early flight.
Well, the flight's not that bad. It's 11:40, but it's at Stansted, and I live in Manchester because stuff going from Manchester Airport at the minute. That, and you can't really get direct flights there from Manchester, so we're driving to Stansted. My poor dad, bless him, he's driving me all the way down to Stansted at 4 in the morning so we can get there for about 8 o'clock, and then I can be there just in time for the flight. Anyway, away from all that, the Battle of the Dazzle Camo has started here, Ed. We've got Dennis Gallo closing down on Toby Ward. This is going to be a good old scrap, I reckon, but Dennis is showing that he's got the pace at the minute.
Yeah, you can send it around the outside into Richie's, but is he going to go for it? No, backs out of it for now. Looks to try and find a way into the hairpin, but no way through, unfortunately, so needs to wait a little while longer. Next real opportunity is probably going to be in towards Brundle and Nelson if he gets a good run out of Williams down the Bentley Straight.
Yeah, it's the focal points of the circuit, isn't it, really? There are main opportunities, and then other parts of the track where you might not gain so much. We still have 14 of the 16 cars that started running at the moment. Hans Polmans and Fraser Smith both out of the race currently. We wait to see now whether Kane Halliburton can continue to gain time and gain places, because he's only 2.7 seconds behind Raymond Wolpott. He wants to try and get into the top 10 and just gain an extra championship point or two. Jakub Szymanski is 8th at the moment as well. Championship admin is currently just ahead of Wayne Palmer. You can see Wayne coming a mile off, though, with them bright green wheels, can't you?
Yeah, you really can, and Jakub is going to need to defend for all he's worth to try and stay in 8th place. Just sliding a little bit there, and he's going to be under a lot of pressure now in towards Brundle and Nelson. Which way is Wayne Palmer going to go? To the outside to get the inside for Nelson. He's going to try and go for it. Jakub Szymanski very defensive on the inside line. They're going to go wheel to wheel, try and scrap it out. And
no.
Just for the moment, Jakub Szymanski, he thought he might have had it, but no, ends up locking the rear end, over-rotating, and unfortunately losing so many positions that not only has he lost 8th position, but he's lost 9th, 10th, and finds himself now in 11th.
Yeah, he just clips that little bit of the dirt on the inside. He was given as much space as he possibly could, and it went around. And to be honest with you, he's done a great job to stay out of the wall there. And wow.
Yeah, so good.
It looks very tasty, doesn't it, right now? Looks very tasty indeed. Oh yeah, it's been pointed out to me actually that usually you do have to have iRacing on the screen somewhere. There is an iRacing logo, sorry. There it is. Don't sue me, iRacing. Into the pits though goes Jakub Szymanski, unfortunately. That is the end of his race maybe, unless he does come back out and just to keep that final championship point. But this battle between Toby Ward and Justin Gerritsen has now opened up. Now that Toby has lost his podium spot to Dennis Gallo, we need to have a look actually at Dennis getting through past Toby. It happened on the exit of Brundle and Nelson. Toby just ran wide. And an easy pickings there for Dennis to get up into 3rd place. So we're just over a minute from the end of the race now, and Kimber Hayt is coming into Brundle and Nelson. And yes, Anton, it was... sorry, Hendrik. It was the introduction video. We have a new promo video for NEVO, which, if you want, if we have, of course, the break in between the two races here, I'll play it for you again before we go to said break.
Should have just about enough time to fit it in. We will see, but of course, what a drive from this man, Kimber Hayt. He's been unstoppable, hasn't he, up in front? Completely unstoppable. As soon as he got into the lead, when he started on pole, kept pretty much everyone at bay. Toby Ward didn't really have an answer for him into turn 1, and from then on out, it's been all Flemish Sim Sports.
As indeed. And there has been, I didn't want to bring it up, but there has been messages in the Discord confirming this, but the grid was actually wrong, because we saw that Kane started directly behind Fraser, but Raymond Wolpott was between them, and that's not championship order reversed in my mind. I did wonder, but there has been a message sort of confirming that at the moment, so that'll get looked at, of course. Hendrik de Grave is upset that I'm not wearing a dress, but I basically said to the guys there's a surprise for tonight, and they thought I was going to wear a dress on the broadcast, but unfortunately that is not the case for you lot. But this has still been a bit of a reduced-sized race at the moment. We've had Jean-Sébastien Larose has retired from the race, as well as Jakob Szymanski. So he's had an issue somewhere along the way. Justin Gerritsen here in the Red Bull livery, chasing down Toby Ward in the boosted motorsport machine. Toby's going to try to hold on to that position for just one more lap as they come out of Williams now onto the Bentley straight. And look at the understeer there, Ed. It's quite painful, actually, how much it does understeer around there. It's a nasty corner for it as well.
So tricky, yeah, but of course, not long to go in the race. They don't need to worry about the understeer for too much longer.
No, they do not. And look at that, Austin Foster is pushing so hard to try and catch up with Kimber Haight. He really closed the gap down. Got it down to 1.4 seconds a moment ago, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And Flemish Sim Sports, well, they've got a number of guys represented in the championship. They've also got a number of guys represented in the chat. And I'm sure it's just about to go very mental, maybe with beer emojis or something of that sort, as Kimber Haight rounds the final corner and takes the victory in the first race of the night at Snetterton. Very well done to Kim and Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco. Austin Foster is second, and Dennis Gallo is going to take a podium spot. Well done to him. Toby Ward is next up, ahead of Justin Gerritsen. Absolute storming performance by him. John Barnes as well started 14th, finished in 6th. And Kane Halliburton, despite being involved in the crash at the start, despite having a pit stop, still gained 4 spots from where he started to finish 7th, ahead of Matt Alexander and Wayne Palmer. Raymond Walpott is going to round out your 10. Well, Kimber Haight did a mega job there, didn't he, Ed? Fantastic race victory and a nice little spin to go with it as well. The J-turn. Whoa.
Oh, excellent stuff there from Kimber Haight. You have to, though, feel a little bit sorry for some of the drivers that we were expecting to do quite well. Kane Halliburton, who got the fastest lap of the race right at the end there, finishing in 8th place. But then Jakob Szymanski was so close, wasn't he, to bag himself a top 10, but one little mistake into Brundle put an end to his hopes.
Yeah, indeed. Indeed. I'm just having a quick look at some of the times that people were putting in. The best lap times are all in the 47s and 48s. 46 from Wayne Palmer. He did a 46.72. He was the only... Actually, Jean-Sébastien Larose did a 46.72 as well. And then Kane Halliburton's fastest lap was a 1:45.2. That's disgusting. How do you do that? How do you... What? That's like a second and a half quicker than anybody else's best lap. Wow. Well, that shows you why he is a man with 8,000 iRating, doesn't it? That is exactly why he is a man with 8,000 iRating. Well, we finish our first race of the day, and we'll bring up the race results for you and show you exactly how that all ended up. But we hope you enjoyed that first one. There's plenty more where that came from. Don't you worry. So Kimber Haight takes a win by 1.6 seconds in the 4th race of the season. Dennis Gallo finishes 3rd, just behind Austin Foster. I shouldn't really say it that way around, should I? Toby Ward finishes 4th for Boosted Motorsport. Justin Gerritsen rounds out the top 5. Then it's John Barnes in 6th place after gaining 8 positions in that one. Good stuff from John. Kane Halliburton recovers to finish in 7th ahead of Matt Alexander. Wayne Palmer and Raymond Walpott round out your top 10. John Tusting was the last car on the lead lap, and then we had Simon Price, who had the spin early on, ahead of Jakob Szymanski, Jean-Sébastien Larose, Hans Polmans and Fraser Smith. So hopefully we get everybody to the end in the next race. The drivers are just out for warm-up at the moment. It's only a 5-minute session, so we will be very, very quick. And we're having reports that, unfortunately, Fraser Smith has decided to withdraw from the championship. He's not too chuffed about the reverse grid situation and the difference in pace, which is effectively part of what caused the incident that we saw him have early on in the race, which is a shame, but the series moves on, I guess. The clown, I nearly said the clown circus. I don't know why I was going for the clown circus. They're all a bunch of clowns, aren't they, Ed?
Yeah, every last one of them. It is a definite shame for us to see Fraser Smith leave us. It was a great fight that he gave Kane Halliburton at the first round of the championship. It's just I think everyone is in the same boat, aren't they, Chaz, with these reverse grids? And it's all about trying to get through and survive with the reverse grids, because obviously qualifying for the feature race is open and it's based on pure qualifying pace.
Yeah, definitely, and you can feel a bit hard done by as a driver sometimes when that is the situation. But at the end of the day, some of these series have fantastic rules in place that make it more exciting and make it more dynamic. It means that some of the guys that maybe don't have the qualifying pace to put it on pole position, they have the chance to start near the front of the grid and prove that they can defend and they can stay up there in the order. And we've seen it before, you and I, in multiple championships where people have started far down or usually qualify far down, and then they put them at the front of a grid and they can defend like absolute gods and they can get a result out of it.
Yeah, I mean, some of my best moments commentating on iRacing has been over these sorts of reverse grid races. Basically, it's usually based off of the first race results and then completely reversed around. So all the drivers that were either slower or had incidents at the first race get a second chance to try and seek glory, and because of that chance, they really want to seize it and make the most of it.
Yeah, that's it. And having those moments those chances to make the most of it and show everyone what you've got. That's what I love about that sort of format. Unfortunately, for some though, it doesn't quite always work that way. Anyway, we have just another moment of warm up. Who would you say was your sort of driver of the race in that first one there, Ed? Because there was a few under the radar performances that gained a lot of positions, and some drivers that just held station really well, weren't there?
Yeah, I mean, you've got to give credit to Kane Halliburton coming back from the disappointment of the first lap to carry on through and get himself a very respectable 8th place. That's going to be pretty big for his championship, especially considering the likes of, his main rival, Fraser Smith, leaving the championship after tonight. And obviously, I think we might have a drop round, I believe, of this season. So if we do see Hakon Grebstad return, he needs to basically get as many points as possible tonight to try and stem the tide that will come when these drop scores get applied.
Well, that's another thing that makes these championships exciting, is the fact that some drivers that, you can't make every round. We all know that real life comes first. If you can't make a round, then you're not really losing out a massive amount, to be honest with you. So it's good to see that drivers get that chance once again. You know, it's all about keeping things as fair as possible and giving drivers with maybe a little bit less pace or less chance to get into a championship or do all the rounds. You know, it levels the playing field, like we've said. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in so far. We've got a couple of you watching over on Twitch and a couple on Facebook, and obviously we have over 30 of you at the moment on YouTube. So thank you to everybody that has tuned in. Don't forget to hit that wonderful like button. The charity. God, I'm using the wrong words for everything today, Ed. I'm going to start calling you Chaz. But the channel, which I was very grateful for, hit 800 subscribers just 2 days ago, and I'm absolutely over the moon about that, because I think at the start of the first lockdown, before it was even Chaz Draycott Media, back when it was Chazlington, I think it was about 300 subscribers, maybe 270, 280. So I'm absolutely over the moon. So thank you very much, everyone. It means a lot. So, race order from race 1 is what sets the grid for race 2. So there you have it. Kimber Haight and Austin Foster on the front row. Dennis Gallo and Toby Ward. Then it's Justin Gerritsen and John Barnes. Watch out for Kane Halliburton from 7th. He's definitely in with a chance of winning this. Matt Alexander is 8th. I mean it, yes. Wayne Palmer is 9th. Raymond Wolpott is 10th ahead of John Tusting and then Simon Price. Then we have Jakub Szymanski and Jean-Sebastien Larose, Hans Polmans and Fraser Smith at the back of the grid. We're just waiting now for Simon to take his spot on the grid, and then everything will be underway. Lights are going to come on. Fraser is not taking to the race, so we'll see a 15-car grid. But round 5 of the championship in the NEVO British F4 Series from Snetterton is underway, and once again, look for Kane Halliburton's lightning start. Through the middle of the pack, he's got away well, but to be honest, it was a really good start by Dennis Gallo. He's down the inside of Austin Foster, and Toby Ward's around the outside. Tries to make that work, and he does. He holds it all the way around there. Nice job by him. Look at Kane Halliburton, though, already into 5th place, already into 4th place as he digs down the inside onto the brakes. Is there any shenanigans going on further down? Jakub Szymanski's lost a couple of places, although he'd actually gained a few early on. Hansi's gained 4 by the time they get to turn 2, Ed. He's had a great start. Absolute
blinder from Hans Polmans there. Really, really putting the afterburners on to try and get through now on Wayne Palmer as they make their way towards Agostini. He's going to look for it up the inside onto the brakes, and he's going to seize that opportunity with both hands. firmly all the way on the inside, and then you can see a wide Matt Alexander just getting back up to racing speed ahead of him, looking up the inside in towards Hamilton. You don't really want to go too wide through there if you can help it, and they managed to sort themselves out and go single file. But what a start from this man. Exactly what I was thinking, Chaz. Kane Halliburton absolutely lightning off the line, and you can just see, if we have a look back at that start at some point in this race, just how aggressive, how darting he was to the inside, to the outside, just trying to find ways through. Because all of a sudden, Toby Ward is looking for a way through on Austin Foster on the first lap. Cool tyres. Needs to be cooperation between the pair of them to get this done safely, and Toby Ward just backs out of it for a moment, but that's going to put him under pressure, and ever the opportunist, Kane Halliburton, what a move up the inside through the bomb hole. They're still side by side as they make our way through Coram now. As off goes Wayne Palmer. I think that was just from a little bit of a dip through the bomb hole that just unsettled the car. But Kane Halliburton gets that move done as he makes his way through Murray's and is already now actually onto the back. Second place, Austin Foster.
He is indeed. Austin's going to be watching his rearview mirror. They do get quite a bit of slipstream in this car, but it's not massive. You know, it's not enough to drag them completely past down the straights. They can just sort of stay together in the slipstream here. But the opportunistic move there by Kane Halliburton was an absolute belter, wasn't it? Looked really, really tidy indeed. He just dived out as soon as he got chance. We've got the two Johns, only Johns, in the middle of the field here. This is John Tusting watching John Barnes actually try to get one over on Justin Gerritsen. If he's going to drive anything like a usual driver with a Red Bull livery on, he's going to chop the nose off both of these guys as they get very, very close and very friendly on the exit of Palmer. John's got a fantastic view of this right now. They're so close to each other down into Agostini. Hard on the brakes. Turn it in. It's a very tight left-hander. And look at that. John Barnes tries to get the cut back underneath him. And I think he's made that work, has he? No, there's no overlap on the run down towards Hamilton.
No, not quite. But John Barnes, he's definitely looking racy, trying to find a way through on Justin Gerritsen. Looks to the outside of Oggy. So we're going to really open up the corner now. But the Red Bull liveried car parks it on the apex, putting the car in just the right positions to frustrate John Barnes. But as they make their way through Williams side by side, it's still the 38 of Justin Gerritsen that's holding on barely by the tips of his fingers. The 6th place down in towards Brundle and Nelson. Look at the gaggle of cars waiting in the wings to try and make a position up here. The battle for 6th place is absolutely electric as we see, oh my word, all the way around the outside. Is that move going to be done? Yes, it is. Hans Polman's up into the top 10.
Yeah, he was just waiting there. I think Jean-Sebastien Larose, who we ride on board with right now, was just waiting for a moment as it all checked up, and he just locked up the inside wheel, and it just sort of spat the car one way then the other, and he unfortunately lost out to Hans Polman's. Matt Alexander has a moment. He gets very out of shape. That was great avoidance by all of them. Jakub Szymanski's going to gain out of this as well. Now, Jean-Sebastien Larose all over the back of Hansi as they go down the straight. Which way is he going to go? Left or right? He's all over the back of him. Careful not to make contact, boys. Justin Gerritsen's been overtaken by John Barnes as well in the background. And this is only the start of lap 3 as Hansi clips the curb, tries not to run wide. Larose is all over the grass. He blinks in and out. He's later on the brakes, but Hansi gets it tucked down the inside. And look at that. Jakub Szymanski, lovely send up the inside. Gets a freebie out of that. That was as tidy as you like there, Ed. But we need to go back to the front, I think, in just a sec, because Larose now back down the inside of Szymanski, and he's got him back at Palmer's. Brilliant racing.
This is absolutely excellent. A real advert for NEVO and the driving you get here. Excellent racing all across the field. This battle for 6th place is absolutely electric, though. John Barnes just getting ahead as John Tusting makes a move on Justin Gerritsen. And oh dear, that's a big, big incident. Several cars off. I think that was Hans Polman's caught up in it after the hard work he did to get inside the top 10. Okay, so that was the move that we saw Justin Gerritsen spinning, and that was what allowed John Tusting through. And there was a separate incident between Hans Polman's and I think that might have been Jakub Szymanski. I know Hans Polman's just span all by himself.
Oh, and Larose got into...
Lorenz got into him. And Jakub took evasive action and also spun himself.
Yeah. And there's a change for the lead. Kimber Haight and Austin Foster fighting for the lead here. I didn't even realise they were that close together. There's been more shenanigans further down. Raymond Wolpott's dropping places. Wayne Palmer is also dropping places. So too is Jakub Szymanski. Something has gone on further down, but we'll have to come back to that because up at the front, it's all over the choppers. Whoa! Austin Foster pushing a little bit too hard on the exit of Murray's, goes on the curb and all over the gravel. Now Kane Halliburton finds himself in 2nd position already. Kimber Haight holds on to his lead, but for how long? We look back and there is Kane He's all over the back of him already here as they go around turn 1. John Tusting has a transponder issue, drops down the order, then back up again. And look at this, Austin Foster back down the inside. Kane's later on the brakes, but they're 3 wide. Is he going to? No! Austin Foster want to move down the inside of the pair of them. He's absolutely mugged them off. It could have scared the absolute daylights out of Kimber Haight, though. But they're still 3 wide towards Palmer's. Kane's on the inside, Austin's around the outside, and he's done it. That's unbelievable commitment by Austin Foster. Absolutely amazing. You've got to love a bit of that. That was so close. You could argue it was borderline dangerous. Look at the move by Kane. Tries to put his nose down the inside. Austin says, not on your life, sunshine. Oh, in the background, that is surely Toby Ward that's done a spin. No. Well, my voice went up an octave and then down an octave faster than I've ever heard it do before. But, my God, that was phenomenal.
That is insane. One for the highlight reel. Everyone watching at home, pick your jaws up off the floors. That is absolutely insane what we've just seen from Austin Foster, sending up the inside of both of them, mugging them off. But all of a sudden, Kane Halliburton's getting a bit of a move on as well. He's not going to take what we just saw sitting down, is he? He's going to go right the way around the outside now, in towards Brundle, hopefully getting the inside for Nelson. We're going to see how this works, though, because it's going to be so difficult when you're braking offline, and we've just seen exactly that. Kane Halliburton backing out us. Look at Kimber Haight. He is really razzing that car around, isn't he? Going absolutely pedal to the floor.
Wringing its neck.
As we make our way through Coram. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be no air left in that car. He's absolutely choking the thing out. Austin Foster now needs to get a good exit out of Murray's. And no, he does it. He runs a little bit wide, gets a massive snap, and that allows Kane Halliburton through.
Ride 'em cowboy. Austin Foster all over the gravel on the exit. That's the second lap in a row he's done that. Now, we need to have a look back at what happened in the background because something has gone on here. So, Jean-Sebastien Larose has been off the road. You've got Simon Price in the background. Whoa, Jean-Sebastian's off, and he's backwards into the middle of Brundle and Nelson. And then Wayne Palmer spins. Then Jakub Szymanski spins. Then Gerritsen hits Palmer. Then he goes back across the road. Where did Simon Price go in all that? Because he just sort of disappeared for a moment there. And then, oh, wow, there's a rejoin in front of him. So Simon's on the inside of Raymond Walpott. He clips the grass, loses it there. Everyone tries to avoid everyone. Szymanski's off. Gerritsen goes off, and then he rejoins, loses it, spins backwards across the road in front of, I think that was Hansi. And then Jakub comes on. And he's nearly hit Simon. Oh, God. So
and what was a highlight reel at the front.
Yeah.
Well,
it was a nightmare at the back.
Yeah, certainly a low light.
Yeah.
From the midfield battling pack there. This was what happened to Toby Ward. I wanted to have a look at this just to see what happened, and it's just through Agostini. It's so easily done there because of just how the corner is. You can't really see the exit of the corner when you're turning in for it, just the way that you sit so low in these cars and sort of how deceptively long the apex is around the corner. So this is it. This is basically in the pound seats for all of the action that was going on in towards Palmer. You can just see a wise move from Kimber Haight not to fight them side by side and allow them just to go too wide instead into Palmer.
This was just, I mean, it was so gutsy from Austin Foster. Fair play. And Kimber Haight, I mean, he's the one in the middle of all that, and he held his ground while also not making big contact. There was nearly a touch there. But they both did so well, and like you say, Ed, he backed out of it into Palmer's, but that is commitment by Austin Foster around there. I think we're going to have to go back on board with that and just have a look from the left rear and just see how close they all actually got here on the exit, because look at this. There's like even a slide there and a bit of wheel banging on the way in. Look at the front wing. Oh, that's so close. But then watch this. As he goes past Kane Halliburton here, we'll slow it down. He's just going to swipe the nose off the front of Kane Halliburton's car. I mean, it doesn't look that close from there, but that is mighty close when you're at speed. That is phenomenal racing, and it's carrying on here. Austin Foster's still defending from Dennis Gallo as well now, because Dennis has joined in on all of this. He's got Kimber Haight in there as well. This is just brilliant. Kane's loving it, and he's off in the distance, but, I mean, he's gone 2.6 seconds faster than anybody else's best lap. But this is just insane racing. I absolutely love it. Oh, no, it was! Oh, no, as around goes Foster. Dennis Gallo goes in a straight line trying to avoid it. And I think Kim is waiting for him, and he is. Fair play to Kane. Kim, not Kane. Really, really good sportsmanship there. And Matt Alexander says, all right, you've knocked my teammate off. I'll have a freebie and all. Cheers. Matt Alexander sneaks up the inside. Love a bit of that. But that was just...
about cursing the commentator, Chaz. Immediately after you said that it was great racing...
Oh, yeah.
They have a bit of a moment into August, and yeah, just Kimber Haight completely misjudges it.
I love how watch Dennis Gallo. Dennis is sort of like, he's alongside it, and he sort of waits for him. He's like, are you boys all right? Yeah, good. All right, see you in a bit.
All right.
And then John...
Look at John Tustin.
Yeah, where's he come from, mate? He's 9 places gained in this race, is John Tustin. He's having a whale of a time. Only John's.
He's absolutely loving it. I just love that little shot we saw there, didn't we? He's like Dennis Gallo just stopping for a moment. John Tustin, he was waiting for nobody. He was absolutely sending it on through. He's got a nosebleed. He's so high up in second place. He's loving life at the moment. The 99 car gaining 9 positions so far this race. Unlikely to gain one more, as Kane Halliburton is just a speck in the distance for John Tustin at this moment in time. 10 seconds clear in the lead of this race, and I think John's eyes are going to be firmly planted on Dennis Gallo in his rearview mirrors, because, well, that's going to be the battle for second place for sure. We saw how quick Dennis Gallo was getting up to that fight between Austin Foster and Kimber Hayet, and for now it's going to just be a straight out fight. The podium seems to be locked down unless these two start squabbling, because John Barnes is in there and he might try and get himself onto the podium as well.
Well, that's it. Anyone could end up on a podium in this current scenario. You never know how it's going to pan out, but we all know one thing at the moment, and that is that Kane Halliburton is doing an amazing job at the front of the field. And we've had a few drivers have some moments, and Kimber Hayet is one of them. He's off the road into the dust on the exit of what looks like Oggies. Before Williams, it is. But we have had a few more drivers go off the road, unfortunately. Wayne Palmer's had an issue here. This is down into turn 1 at Riches. Oh, it's going. Oh, manages to save it. Justin Gerritsen then went off for a couple of seconds. This is into the final corner at Murray's. Oh, he's just going to run wide on the exit. And then Simon Price had an issue also into the final corner. He's had the issue in front of him. Oh, he's just clipped the gravel and it's gone around really quickly on him. And then we had Kimber Hayet going off the road. Let's see what happens to Kim. Is he just going to clip the grass? No, it just goes around mid-corner. Maybe something to do with the damage on the nose.
Yeah, and as well as if you don't quite hit the curbs right, it can unsettle the car through Oggy. So that's something to think about. As look at that move. There was no thinking about that one from Dennis Gallo. He knew exactly what he wanted to do and did it very nicely indeed. Right the way around the outside through Riches. Towards the hairpin, nice and safely. So that is second place in Dennis Gallo's hands for the moment. John Tustin is going to try and fight it through, but I think John is going to be pretty happy with third place at this moment in time. Dennis Gallo's pace just looks a little bit too much for the Boosted Motorsports driver just to hold on for.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, half of the top 4 is Boosted Motorsport cars. Toby Ward's still in 6th as well, so half of the top 6 is Boosted Motorsport machines, but he's got Matt Alexander right behind him. I'll get your name right at one point, Matt. I'll even be able to say the word name properly as well, I promise you. But Matt is looking racy at the minute. He's gained 1 place from where he started. The car behind them is Jean-Sébastien Larose. We know he is quick as well, although his best lap is actually 2/10 slower than both of these guys in comparison. No one has got into the 46s. However, Kane Halliburton has got into the low 45s as Toby Ward runs wide. And that is going to give Matt Alexander a position. He's going to move up into 6th place as they go down the straight. Justin Gerritsen and Kimber Hayet, as our cameraman falls over, they've just swapped places. Justin Gerritsen getting through past Kim, so maybe that front wing really harming Kim's pace right now.
Yeah, looks to be the case at the moment, as we see Dennis Gallo. He's not actually been able to get away from John Tustin. I was thinking that his pace was going to be a little bit quicker, but John Tustin is definitely staying with him, and with a good exit out of the final corner. As we come on to the final lap of the race, it's game on for second place, you know, Chaz. John Tustin going to the inside. Dennis Gallo isn't fighting it. He's got the confidence all the way around the outside. It was how he made the move on the lap before. But now with the extra speed and the inside line, John Tustin's got his nose just ahead for a brief moment, but doesn't have the exit speed. Still has the inside line into the hairpin. Has the confidence as well to send it through. Excellent stuff there from John Tustin. What a move.
That was lovely stuff by John. As oh no, there's been an incident in the background by the sound of it. Matt Alexander has come off the road and he is stopped with Toby Ward as well. The two of them obviously racing very
Dennis
hard.
Takes back second.
He has. There's more drivers involved actually. Austin Foster has had a problem. What has gone on here? Oh my goodness me, that's a huge accident and he's going to roll back. Oh, into his teammate. Toby Ward's gone off. Jean-Sébastien Larose hits him as well. I mean, you could argue he had a while to watch. But still, there's a humongous accident Matt Alexander hits him, but some of the guys, they just don't change direction, do they?
I want to see what actually caused the initial incident. Was it a touch on the grass or was it a wheel failure? Because it's very rare to see a car hit that barrier.
I think he's just going to clip the grass.
Ooh.
He is. Oh, and it spits one way, then the other. And that's a big old hit. But then the guys behind, I mean, they just don't change direction. That's what surprised me most about it, is that so many of them arrived at the scene in a straight line. Anyway,
Yeah.
Kane Halliburton is going to take a very dominant victory. Sorry, Ed, but he's done a mega job. Another weave across the line, and look at that. Great car control to go with it, and another brilliant win for Kane. He's won by nearly over 15 seconds based on this. Dennis Gallo, what a drive. Started third, fell down a little bit, but came back up. And he's going to take second place, just ahead of John Tusting and John Barnes as well. Only John's having a fantastic result in that one. Jean-Sebastien Larose, despite just hitting a stationary car, is going to come home in 5th place. How has he managed to wing that? We've had a number of drivers actually have problems right at the end. Jakub Szymanski, Hans Polmans. Wow, there's been a lot of attrition at the end. Toby Ward just ahead of Raymond Walpott. Justin Gerritsen clings on to 8th place ahead of Kimber Haight. Then it's Matt Alexander who's going to round out the top 10. But another attritional race, unfortunately, there. That's round 5 of the championship complete. But Kane Halliburton, he's behind there somewhere, takes a very important race win.
Yeah, and of course for the championship, the team's championship at the very least, that's going to be huge for Boosted Motorsport. 2 cars, 3rd and 4th, with a further 3rd car in 6th place. Excellent championship points being scored for that team there, considering that there was only one team that finished ahead of them that was going to score points against them in the championship, and that is Straight Line Racing, the only entrant being Jean-Sebastien Larose. So with Kane Halliburton and Dennis Gallo being privateers, I think if the teams need some championship points, they might need to snag those drivers in before too long.
Yeah, they must do. They certainly should. We've had a number of drivers go off at the end of the lap, actually. A couple of them just having big old moments. We just saw Jakub Szymanski's moment. This is where Wayne Palmer went off, apparently. Clearly not. I think he's gone off. He's just gone off at the next corner. Gets to Brundle and Nelson. That's a little bit too hot by the look of it. Oh, just rotates it halfway round. Toby Ward also had gone off at the hairpin, but I believe that was after the line. So everybody else carrying on past him. But we get our second race result of the evening, Ed. And we'll see just about how... Oh, okay. Apparently we don't get our race result yet, Ed, because it's not apparently finished. Okay. Who are we waiting for? Surely it's done.
I have no idea.
Because everybody has crossed the line. That's strange. Everybody has crossed the line, apparently. But for some reason, the result isn't coming up. You can see everybody making their way into the pits. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure, everybody. Look, everyone's crossed the line. Everyone's got a flag next to their name, as in a checkered flag. Maybe it's because Wayne Palmer has crossed the line. That's really weird. That's really weird. Yeah, let's try it again. Ready? Nothing.
No.
If we go to Heat 1, that works. Oh, don't you love technology?
Let's just get the time and tower on the left-hand side.
Wait.
Oh, he's fixed it!
It's because I was clicking Heat 2, not Feature. We don't have enough to do Heat 2. Basically, I'm an idiot. Kane Halliburton takes the win then by nearly 15 seconds to Dennis Gallo. John Tusting and John Barnes finish in 3rd and 4th, sorry. Jean-Sebastien Larose finishes in 5th. Then it's Toby Ward 6th in car 66. Raymond Walpott in 7th ahead of Justin Gerritsen. Kimber Haight and Matt Alexander round out your top 10. Jakub Szymanski wasn't too far behind them. Hans Polmans gets 12th position with Simon Price finishing 13th. Wayne Palmer was the last car on the lead lap. Then we have Austin Foster and Fraser Smith did not take the start. Well, plenty of action already here, Ed, and we've got drivers loving life in the Discord by the look of it. A number of them saying very different things and all talking about the racing. And Toby Ward saying that he loved his race with Dennis Gallo. It was great fun. And then there's a few of them just... Yeah, Jean-Sebastien Larose finds it amazing as well that he got somehow P5 with a broken car. But, well, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable action already, isn't it, from Snetterton? Apparently, Hansi is annoyed that I missed his finish, apparently. I'm going to look back at this and we'll see what happened, Ed.
Let's have a little look here. Just you know, sending it wide through Brundle Nelson, par for the course for a lot of these drivers there. It's very, very tricky to get right. Then coming through Coram into Murray's. What are we going to see Hans Polmans do?
Is he going to throw it at the wall or something?
Just going to just absolutely spear it into the pit wall.
You nearly went for it then, didn't you?
You nearly went for it. You nearly flipping sent it. What's he going to do?
Oh,
so he stops
Hansy.
here.
I love it. You need to sort your numbers out though, Hansy.
Well done, Hansy. Well done.
Right.
Didn't send it.
Oh, well, what that means it's time for is a break for me and Ed. There is going to be another race server going up in just a few moments' time. But for those of you that missed it at the start of the broadcast, we will show you the brand new NEVO promotional video, and then Ed and I will be back with you in just a few minutes. So make sure you don't go anywhere, everybody. We'll see you in a few.
and now I'm right back at the start. Halfway through a bottle, baby, and nothing's enough. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy, take it easy. I thought that I could keep it low. Take it easy, take it slow. We ended up just like before, so take it easy. And you know how to forget all the wrongs and every reason why we've changed. And there's a storm inside my head. It's getting me in trouble, baby, and I can't break away. I thought that
Hello again, everybody. Chaz Draycott and Ed May here for the NEVO British F4 Series. We're back at Snetterton for the final race of the evening. It's certainly been a busy one so far, hasn't it? With stuff going on absolutely everywhere all over this circuit. Ed's just taken a quick moment to sort out a technical issue at his end. We've been having a few over the course of the broadcast, and we're just trying to make sure everything's sorted. I will give you full disclosure as well. I'm suffering with horrendous toothache at the moment as well, so if I do stumble over my words, it's probably down to some of that, because I am in a lot of pain right now. Just been away on the break to get some painkillers, because we all love a painkiller, don't we? Simon Price will be hoping to have some painkillers for the headache that he'll have after that very first race of the night, but still, he has been putting in the laps, and he's been putting in the practice, and he's been improving over the course of the evening. Justin Gerritsen as well doing the same. Wayne Palmer's also out there in warm-up right now with just 30 seconds left. But it's actually sunny in the UK, Ed. And even Hans Polmans has put that in the Discord. He's put the sunnies out. I didn't know they had that in the UK. He's right.
No, I didn't either. It's a tale up for the books. This sunshine at Snetterton. God, I would kill to see that in real life. It's always wet and gloomy here, but I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And the reason why I wasn't quite in the comments box immediately was because I was getting some intel, Chaz, on the way the races have been going and the way that this race is going to go with the different track temperatures. It was as I'm in a few different teams' Discords, I get around a little bit. I was just chatting to some of the boosted motorsport drivers after their good performance, and Toby was just trying to ask if you had any beef with him, Chaz, because it was about the incident through Ritchie's on the final lap and the drivers not getting out of the way. It seemed to have been because none of the drivers could actually quite see where the spinning car was. It was
they need to turn the
graphics when
graphics
they're
up.
so low down. Yeah, it's very tricky with the graphic settings, and I think just the amount of smoke you get from the tyres now on iRacing is that they couldn't quite see where it was. And of course, when it was there, they were already sort of, I guess, somewhat committed for the braking zone. There were cars in front that were trying to move out of the way. Just at the last minute, it was a little bit of a mess, but it still worked out for them in the end, with Toby Ward getting a I think a season best 6th place, which is very good for them. But of course, qualifying, they've been getting to grips with the track, and actually they found that the hotter track temperatures work a little bit better for the car, just because of how naturally the car prefers the oversteer. With the colder track temperatures and how the car has a tendency to grip a little bit more, it can sometimes grip in ways that cause sort of snap oversteer and the rear end sort of kicking out very suddenly, or suddenly gripping when you're not expecting it to. So if it's a little bit hotter, you get that sort of oversteer in a lot more of a uniform sense, which is what the drivers are more used to and allows them to, interestingly, push a little bit faster and a little bit harder. So we're going to see how the drivers fare in this qualifying session if that is the case. And as well, in the races, it's going to come down to a lot of consistency in the car. We can't see drivers making those same mistakes that they were making in these sprint races that we saw just half hour ago.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, the conditions can change so much from one session to the next, and that's one of the beauties of sim racing, really, is you can have two very different races, and certain drivers thrive in certain conditions and they hate other conditions. Some drivers actually don't like it when it's a really grippy surface and the car can over rotate a lot more easily in a weird way. I'd rather it be a bit understeery because it's easier to manage understeer than it is to manage oversteer. There's more simple things you can do about understeer. But still, these cars are going to be great around here. They're not going to get many laps in this qualifying session, just 10 minutes long, and Hans Polmans is the first one to get onto a fast lap. But you can see now the beautiful metallic sheen of the Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco car, the gorgeous gold and metallic red on that car. And we do actually get sectors that shine up purple on this overlay, because for some reason in other championships that we just do not get purple coming up on the overlays, and we've had issues with that before. Not a clue why. Toby Ward does the fastest first sector of anyone so far, but you will continue to see the times at the bottom improve. So green is a personal best. I believe it'll just be yellow if it is no improvement. And then, of course, purple, or magenta as it's listed in the software, is an outright best. Better than everybody. Mats Borg Anderson in the chat. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're doing well. Mats is going to be one of the very first people to run my new Spontex Chaz Draycott Media esports liveries. It's a livery and sort of team that I've set up for a bit of fun. Basically, we've not got a sort of committed permanent driver roster or anything. There's just a few friends of mine that are drivers from all over the community in iRacing. If they are racing in leagues or whatever, then I can send them the liveries and they can run them if they want. Obviously, it's at my discretion, but still, I think it's great to see that people already want to do it. Mats Borg Anderson messaged me and said, "Can I run that livery, please? It looks good." So there we go. Anyway,
more for the hedgehog though than for racing under your name, Chaz.
Oh yeah,
I think it's more for the little hedgehog on the side.
Of course. Across the line goes Hans Polmans then, puts in a 1:48.7. Not a bad time. The track temperature a bit hotter, so it might be a bit more of a challenge to get a sort of 1:45 in this session. Austin Foster does a 1:48.9. Toby Ward is next. He does a it doesn't actually
He does a lap
show.
time that isn't valid. I think he got an off track somewhere. John Tustin goes to the top of the timing sheets though with a 48.3. So a good opening salvo from the 99 driver, Mr. Motorsports, looking to repeat their good performance in the second sprint race of the evening.
We can sort of stay up here and keep our eyes on who's coming across the line. I like it.
Very nice camera angle there. Seeing all the cars motor on past. Eyes will inevitably shift though towards Kane Halliburton when he next comes through.
Someone moved.
Just look at that on the bottom. Kane Halliburton, I said eyes are going to shift to him. Two purple sectors as he makes his way through Murray's now. Very nice exit there. That is clean as a whistle, and he's going to hug it very tightly down the centre straight. Oh, not actually. I thought he was, but turns out not at all. But three purples across the board.
Oh, my life.
46.3. 2 seconds faster than the next best driver, John Tusting.
How do we kick him? How do we kick him out?
That was how I... now just you know how I felt.
Can we
Like
get the
2 days
iRacing
ago-
overlay and just have, like, kick?
Oh, yeah. That's how I felt 2 days ago for the Sim Racing Magazine GT4, because I thought, oh, that's a really good lap there. I'm happy with that. Then all of a sudden, Saya Bobby rocks up and does a time that's a full, like, 6-7 tenths quicker. And I was, I'll just give it a rest. That was what I was thinking. Just give it a rest, mate. We know you're quick. Come on.
Hansy goes within 2 seconds with a 1:48.2. Austin Foster crosses the line and does not improve by the look of it. John Tusting is going to be next up. Currently still third, actually, is John. He's doing a great job. Martin Kenyon in the chat, another Formula 1 driver. Good to see you. Martin is racing in the number 11 Lola this season. John Tusting crosses the line and improves. Simon Price goes across the line now. Is that his first valid lap on the board? It is. It's a 1:51.005. As right up there goes Matt Alexander, third place for the Crockett Club Motorsport team. Very well done to him. Decent time, that is.
Interesting, Toby Ward is yet to put a valid lap in, so I think he's done 2 laps in a row that have been invalidated, so maybe we'll see a little bit more of a conservative effort from the Boosted Motorsports driver here. He's been, I guess, really wringing the neck of this car and just running slightly foul of track limits.
Yeah, it's easy to do, though, around a circuit like Snetterton as well. I mean, it's not the widest track in the world.
I remember, actually, when I went here last time on a touring car weekend, there was a lot of drivers, because I went for the whole weekend from Friday down to Sunday, camping out in the tents just on the other side of the Bentley Straight here. From this camera angle, just behind us would be where the campsite is at Snetterton. Lovely place. It's don't go when it's raining, wet and horrible, muddy as anything. But there was a lot of drivers on the track walk on a Friday looking around and taking a good look on the exit of Williams, because they have I think they added some new sensors for that weekend, just for automatically pinging for track limits, and a lot of the drivers were going out and prodding it with their feet and giving it a good look.
Intriguing. Well, we've got a couple of drivers that are improving by the look of it right now across the line. Austin Foster and John Tusting both doing personal bests. LaRose has gone second fastest, 1.1 seconds off Kane Halliburton. Tusting crosses the line, does a 47.5. He's only a couple of hundredths of a second off Jean-Sebastien LaRose. And there's Toby Ward's time on the board. Up into 5th place for him. Kimber Haight goes up into 8th position. Don't forget, Kim started near the front of the grid because he had very few championship points, but it wasn't quite the right order as discussed earlier. So a number of cars were slightly out of position. It's nice and close at the minute, but we've still got 2 drivers that haven't put times in. Raymond Wolpott, who we look at here, in the number 33. Wayne Palmer goes 4th. But the other one is Jakob Szymanski, and he's been given a black flag for cutting the track because he lost his orientation when he went off. Hendrik de Grave pointing out that the fangirls are back once again. They are indeed. John Barnes improves. Kane Halliburton does a purple sector 3. Let's see where Raymond Wolpott can get himself as he goes across the line. He goes 12th with the 149.084. Kane Halliburton crosses the line and instantly pulls over. I'm not a fan of that, but still, 146.154. What a great time that is. Absolute beast of a lap time that is by our current championship leader. Dennis Gallo crosses the line. He's surely going to be higher up than that on the grid. And there you go, 4th place, a 147.512. Only 10,000ths of a second, 100th of a second behind John Tusting. But tell you what, no offence to John, but he's sort of pleasantly surprised me with that time there, Ed. That's a really good lap, that.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see what he can pull out, as he's going to have one final attempt at a flying lap for qualifying as we come through Murray's. Off through Murray's was Justin Gerritsen there. John Tusting then, as he comes up to the line, a personal best in the middle sector, but 2 yellows for the 1st and 2nd. Is that enough to improve? Not quite. I think he'll have one further bite of the cherry though, Chaz, and we might go on board and try and watch him through now to see what he can pull out.
Hard onto the brakes then into the hairpin. Used to be the Wilson hairpin,
Lovely
but apparently
apex
it's
there.
called Montreal now. But yeah, that was a very tidy one, wasn't it? Into Palmer. Again, another late apex round here. Really difficult, but you've got to keep the speed up, and it goes slightly over a crest on the exit, so you've got to be careful. And then down a little dip here, and then sort of back slightly cambered over to the left into Agostini. Hard on the brakes. Again, it's a very tight corner, but it's quite a long one at the same time. It's a really weird, deceiving piece of the circuit. Jean-Sebastien LaRose has crossed the line. He's done 2 personal best sectors, but I don't think has improved his time. Tusting looks good through Hamilton. Hard on the brakes into Oggies. One of the most difficult corners on the circuit because the exit is a long, long one. And then you have Williams as well, another late apex. There used to be a tyre stack on the inside of there, I'm pretty sure. Either that or there was an R factor because I hit it.
I think there is in real life as well. You don't want to be going too close to the inside that we just saw John Tusting do, but a green 1st sector, looking good for him. Just slightly shy of his previous best, though, in the middle. Needs to absolutely ace Brundle and Nelson now. Does get a nice exit as well, which is key because it's all flat out through the bomb hole and then up in towards Coram. You need to slightly feather the throttle and just keep the car nicely balanced on the inside there, which we are seeing John Tusting doing, just shifting down through the gears slightly as he gets it straightened out for Murray's. Then hard onto the power, using the exit beautifully. This could be enough for John Tusting. Will it be enough? As he comes up to the line now, has to keep it very tight up to the timing beam. Green final sector, is it enough? No, not quite. Just shy from less than 1/10 of a second from Jean-Sebastien LaRose.
Very, very close indeed, though. Great stuff to watch, and they're within a second of Kane Halliburton as well. I know they'll be pretty happy with that. Matt Alexander runs out the final corner a little bit wide on the exit of Murray's. Don't think he's going to improve here unless it's a demon final sector in comparison to what he's done before. Across the line he goes. That's going to be a 1:48.862, and it's no improvement overall. And Jean-Sébastien Larose is cruising round this final lap. By the look of it, his sector times are not faster than his personal best, which means he will be the final car out on the circuit ahead of the last race of the night. And let's not forget here, Ed, that this is going to be a bit of a longer race, usually about half an hour, I think, aren't they, with, of course, a pit stop in the middle of them. So quite a lot for the drivers to think about here.
Yeah, there's a lot for the drivers to try and digest as they come into the pits now after qualifying. Jean-Sébastien Larose is going to be very happy with second place. Just didn't quite have the pace to match Kane Halliburton, but with the run of form that Kane is on, the drivers are, I think, going to have to settle for second at the moment because he is absolutely lightning quick. Good to see that onboard lap, though, with John Tusting. He was really putting the pressure on, trying to get through, trying to get onto the front row, but wasn't enough. Instead, we're going to have a real second row of the grid to look out for, though, with John Tusting and Dennis Gallo. They're going to be absolutely at each other's throats into the first corner.
They will indeed, but on pole position it is Kane Halliburton by nearly a second. Jean-Sébastien Larose in second place, then John Tusting and Dennis Gallo, as Ed has just mentioned there. Then we have Wayne Palmer and Matt Alexander on row 3, Kimber Haight and Austin Foster on row 4, ahead of Toby Ward and John Barnes. Then it's Hans Polmans and Justin Gerritsen, with Raymond Wolpott 13th, Simon Price 14th, and Jakub Szymanski did not set a time after getting a black flag early on in the session. So we've not got the front row of the grid yet. I keep thinking that white sign in the background is some sort of like graphic that hasn't quite loaded properly, you know what I mean? Looks a bit odd, but still. Kane Halliburton takes his pole position. Martin asking if we can not ban my fans from the chat. The bot thing that keeps coming up. It's basically multiple accounts, and they've all got slightly different names. So yeah, you can't get rid of them permanently because a different one just comes in, and it's like on every live stream after it's been live for like an hour. I think that's when they all start invading. Or yeah, it's just stupid. It's just pointless as well.
Fan club.
Yeah, I don't get it. It really does my head in, to be honest with you. I know it shouldn't bother me because it's just a tiny thing, but it does. Anyway.
It's annoying because it's not in our control as well. It's on YouTube's end, which is a pain. But here we go. Enough of that. We've got racing to get looking forward to.
Round 6 of the NEVO British F4 Series from Snetterton is underway. And, well, bye, Kane. See you in a bit. John Tusting doesn't get a very fantastic start. He's got Dennis Gallo right alongside him now. Wayne Palmer looking close behind him as well. You can see the golden Flemish cars in the middle of the field. Down the inside there. There's contact. Kimber Haight's been turned, and it was Austin Foster that went in. I did think it looked a bit risky going down the inside like that, and he just didn't seem to have a gap to go into, if you ask me. Kane Halliburton has had a clean start. Everybody else behind seems to have done all right as well. Dennis Gallo in 4th place is holding on, and Justin Gerritsen has gained 5 spots from the start. He must have benefited a lot from that initial contact, but it just looked to me, as soon as that light went out, it just looked to me like Austin Foster was going into a gap where he could not gain anything. I might be proven wrong though, Ed. Let's have a look.
We'll have a little look. Yeah, the aerial camera will tell us everything. So into the first corner. Yeah, it was a little bit optimistic. It was a little bit optimistic when you look at where the positioning of Kimber Haitt's car was. He was getting squeezed to the apex by the car on his outside. So I think that gap was always going to diminish and shrink. I think, with the benefit of hindsight, we can say that it was not the smartest move. Of course, we had the aerial camera. When you're in Austin Foster's position, down on ground level, it's a lot harder to judge. And I think at the time we thought it was the right move, but
yeah, exactly. You know,
you can understand why, but it turns out not to have worked out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not the worst move we've ever seen, to be honest with you, but it just seemed like the gap, you know, it was always going to close a little bit. We are on board here with 5th position, but we should really go on 3rd because John Tusting has got Jean-Sébastien Larose and Kane Halliburton right in front of him. This is a very close trio for the race lead. Now, Jean-Sébastien Larose, the Canadian, has been an absolute star for me. You know, he's been really under the radar, and he's running that Prema Racing Team livery, one of which I'll be seeing in real life this weekend as I see the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, which is commentated on by my friend Chris McCarthy. Did Formula 2 at the British Grand Prix last weekend, bless him. But I might have to speak to Jean-Sebastian, see if we can get him in a Hedgehog livery, the Spontex CDM livery. Anyway, this is nice and close further down the order. John Barnes was involved in that initial accident in the opening stages, so he's dropped quite a bit of ground. So he's looking to get back up there. He's only lost 2 places from it, to be fair, but Kimber Haight is sat in the pit lane with a broken car, hoping that he can get back out there. So the main battle to watch, well, it's the lead one, and it's actually become a bit of a quintet at the moment, because Wayne Palmer, despite being in 5th, is only 1.8 seconds off the lead. And Jakub Szymanski is now suddenly further off that, Ed. He's had a moment down here at Agostini.
Easily done into Agostini. Just a little bit too much speed, over rotates on the throttle.
Oof.
Either one of those things can cause that moment. But well avoided from those cars behind. Ooh.
That was very close, especially the second car, which was Raymond Wolpott. Incredibly close. Jakub's had another nightmare there. Something's gone wrong as he blinks in and out, so that must have been some sort of technical issue. We have seen it before. But this is a really interesting battle for the lead now, Ed, because right behind our race leader, Jean-Sébastien Larose. I was expecting Kane to completely check out here, but Mr. Larose has done a good job here, hasn't he?
Yeah, but look at Kane. He's so strong off of the corner exits. I don't know if anyone's going to actually be able to pass him. He's a little bit wayward sometimes into corner entry, which is what allows the likes of Larose and Tusting to reel him in, but coming out of Murray's there, he got it just inch perfect. So good there from Kane Halliburton. Absolutely on a knife edge. Basically putting out qualifying laps in the race, it seems. And Sebastian Larose happy to sit in behind, though, as is John Tusting, because they're thinking about the long game here with half an hour's worth of racing, 1 pit stop needed. Might be worth just sitting in behind, saving a little bit of fuel as Simon Price runs wide of Murray's. How many times have we seen drivers make that mistake this evening, Chaz?
Very easy to do, because at the end of the day, you're transferring the weight of the car, you're going right on the brakes, then left on the brakes, trying to turn it in. It's such a natural reaction to just let go of the brakes when you turn left and put it through the corner, because you feel like you've already done the slowing down and you're going to make the corner, but it's just not that simple. Hansy tries to hang it around the outside of Toby Ward through Hamilton, manages to make it work into Oggies. He's taking a wider line on the exit, and it looks like Toby's just going to poke his nose down the inside. No, not quite yet. Toby's then going to try and get into the slipstream down the back straight, but we'll go on board with Toby and we'll show you just that the slipstream isn't that strong in these cars. Look, it keeps them together, but it doesn't really punch enough of a hole in the air to properly get them overtaking one another, even down a straight, as long as the Bentley straight. And I mean, the thing's an ex-runway, for Christ's sake, so you don't get many straights longer in the UK, do you, Ed?
No, you don't. It's, I think, the 300 circuit is actually the second longest circuit in the UK behind the full layout of Silverstone, if I remember rightly. It's quite surprising as well when you see how compacted it all is into itself. It's doesn't feel like a big track when you're actually there. It's
It's
something
weird,
that's always surprised me. Yeah, it's the second longest track in the UK, but when you're there, it feels anything but.
Well, GT3 cars take about 2 minutes to do. No, it's about 1 minute 45 to do a lap round here. You know, it's incredible how long it can take certain cars to get a lap in the books around this place. A lot of the lap records that are actually pinned to the commentary box window, or the commentary box wall anyway, are over 2 minutes. A lot of the lap records around here for certain categories. We've had a problem, I'm afraid, for John Tusting into the final couple of corners. He and Jean-Sébastien Larose both lost a lot of time. Right, Jean-Sébastien's gone sideways, John's gone to avoid it on the grass, and that's why it's all suddenly bunched up, and Dennis Gallo has got past and moved up into 3rd place. He nearly got a move done on Jean-Sébastien, but it has not worked. But once again, though, Ed, he's up there fighting for a podium place. Dennis has had a really good meeting so far, except for maybe that little moment there, which brings Wayne Palmer even closer.
Yeah, then through Williams gets a nice exit. Really big shame, though, for John Tusting, who did it pretty much everything right, got out of the way of the incident. It was more Sebastian Larose's mistake than anything else, but unfortunately it was a mistake that had a bigger effect on John Tusting's race, which, I mean, you can be sure he's going to have a fire in his eyes to try and get those positions back for certain, but is he going to try and go all out now? I don't know.
Cameraman.
We'll certainly have a look. Chaz, I know you need to go for a quick second, so I'm happy soldiering on as we follow at the moment Justin Gerritsen in the middle of a very close fight. He's got Matt Alexander for company up ahead, and Hans Bowman's right up his rear end as he makes his way out of Murray's down the centre straight towards Richie. He's going to have enough slipstream assistance from the car ahead just to stay in front and not get completely eaten alive by the Flemish Sim Sports car in behind. Justin Gerritsen, he's been having really good race starts. We saw it in the first race of the evening where he gained 9 positions after the first couple of laps. He seems to be trying to carry on a good start forward, gaining 5 positions so far with just about 8 minutes gone in this race. Excellent stuff from the Dutchman ahead of his compatriot Raymond Walpott, who's also had a good start to this race, gaining 3 positions inside the top 10. I think this might actually have been Raymond Walpott's first outing. I don't seem to remember him being here last time, but of course, I could be wrong. My memory is, well, I think I'd be jealous of a goldfish, to be honest. It's not great, to say the least. Justin Gerritsen, they're just trying to keep in touch with Matt Alexander, and basically now the 3 cars are equidistant from one another. As we look back from Matt Alexander now in towards Brunner Nelson, we're going to get a good angle here to see the suspension work its magic. Pressing down, bouncing over the curbs, and then again squeezes his way. Just a little bit of a touch of the sausage curves. That really did unsettle the car as he makes his way out of the corner in towards Bombhole and Coram. And I think you're back with us, Chaz, to watch this fight start to unfold. It was a little bit quiet, but all of a sudden now that you've come back, they're looking a little bit racier.
I've scared them into doing something. To be honest with you, I've got a lot of painkillers in my mouth. So, yeah, if I start to sound drunk at the end of this, then you know what's happened. Kane Halliburton into the pits for a very early stop. But look at that. Dennis Gallo, fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.461. That's a really, really impressive time. That is 3/10 faster than Kane Halliburton's best lap. So I'm not sure what's going on with Kane here, but he's just not able to put the pace in early on. He's had his pit stop already, though, 4.4 seconds. We've had some drama for Austin Foster further down. Lights it up on the exit of Oggies, and around it goes. And what is already a difficult evening for Austin has got even more difficult. Typically, we've looked away from that battle, Ed, and it's all kicked off. Jakub Szymanski there demonstrating how quickly Formula 4 cars can go sideways. However, something's kicked off here.
The minute we look away,
oh
dear. Dutchman Justin Gerritsen just misjudging the brakes, I think.
Oh no.
And I was just praising how well his early starts of the race has been, Chaz, but while you're away, I was mentioning the fact that the first race evening he was gaining 9 positions within the first 2 minutes and looked to be doing the same feat. He gained 5 positions right off the beginning of the race and looked to hold on to them, but after that little moment, he's dropped right the way back again, and now his compatriot that I was just touching on, Raymond Walpott, who I think this was his first race meeting here tonight, up 6 places as John Tusting going for a move. For a brief moment was in 3rd place, but then coming in towards Nelson wasn't able to hold on, backed out of the move and allowed Wayne Palmer back through into 3rd place.
Yeah, there's been some good battles going on this evening, and like I say, some drivers that maybe just sort of faded into the background a little bit last week. You know, they've actually started to really shine through here with a bit of a smaller grid. If I'm honest with you, I think that there's a number of drivers that really deserve a lot of praise in the championship for how they've been performing so far this season and the professionalism they've shown in the driving. But we have Jean-Sébastien Larose currently leading this race then after the early pit stop for Kane Halliburton. John Barnes is coming into the pits now in the very brightly yellow-winged and wing-mirrored boosted motorsport machine. You can see the bumps here at Snetterton. You have to be very careful in these cars actually going over curbs like that, or, well, entering the pit lane like that, don't you? Because the bumps are absolutely savage here, and it's like that in real life.
Yeah, I mean, it shows the accuracy of iRacing's laser scan technology that they can get that absolutely nailed on. But here we go. Kane Halliburton, after making his early pit stop, has found himself in a little bit of traffic. That traffic is Justin Gerritsen, who seems to be getting out of the way, just about. Nicely done there. So only slowed up Kane for a few corners there, but that can all add up, especially if Jean-Sébastien Larose keeps on pumping out purple lap after purple lap, fastest lap of the race so far in the Canadians' hands for the moment. it's looking like Sebastian might be trying to reel back in the race leader.
Yeah, he's doing a good job of it currently, isn't he? Really, really good job. Wouldn't surprise me if he does race for Premo with the livery he's got, the pace he's showing as well. It's really, really impressive. So he's racing for Straight Line Racing False Group Esports at the moment. Clearly they don't have their own livery, but I'm intrigued to see whether he wants to run mine. We'll find out, I suppose, next round. John Tusting in 4th place at the moment. He's in a bit of no man's land, but he's actually the closest car on track with Wayne Palmer, if that makes sense. Paul Godden commenting on Facebook saying, "Hi everyone, I should be on the grid, but unfortunately work and life got in the way at the moment of my sim racing. But great to still be able to watch the series with you all." Thank you very much for the comment, Paul. It's good to see you, mate. And don't you worry, mate. No matter what, whenever I'm broadcasting, running series, whatever, I always say real life comes first. We had a driver the other day, actually, in the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge, randomly pull over in the middle of the race, halfway down the straight, very suddenly, as Kane Halliburton destroys the fastest lap of the race by 1.1 seconds. Driver pulled over in the middle of the straight, and we were thinking, oh no, I wonder what's gone wrong, because, you know, you always do show a bit of concern when somebody quickly pulls over like that. It could be a technical issue, it could be something that's happened in the room, or something's happened around them in the real world outside of the sim. But no, it turns out that Mark, our wonderful friend, had been away for a few days, and he'd come back home. And the time that he'd come back home to do his sim racing after being away, his missus had ordered a Tesco's delivery. Other supermarkets are available. And it turned up right when he was midway through a race, and he was summoned to help bring it in. I don't know if you knew that, Ed, but there you go.
No, I didn't actually. So that was, that's an interesting fact there. That was... yeah, I guess real life comes first, and
always.
So does Tesco's delivery.
And so does Rallycross if you're Hans Polmers. That was hairy.
Really track limits, and that's going to be a hefty itemised bill for groundskeeping work from Mr. Palmer there.
Not Wayne.
Running all over his nicely trimmed lawn on the outside of the Bentley Straight.
Gotta love a bit of that. Kane Halliburton's just got past Raymond Walpott as well, by the way. Two similar looking cars, actually, the black and green liveries. Looks like Kane's going to just do this on the inside into Brundle. Yeah, Raymond doesn't make it difficult for him. Raymond just pulls over to one side. The Dutch driver, one of two Dutch privateers in the championship, actually. There's himself and Justin Gerritsen running the Red Bull livery. Oh, that looks a bit hot to me. Raymond runs slightly wide on the exit of the corner. And we have Wayne Palmer in 3rd place at the moment. Still less than a second back to John Tusting. We're just about to hit the halfway point of the race here, Ed. And there's even a battle going on for last place. Jakub Szymanski and Kim Behait are close together, both having their own respective issues in this race. But it's good to see them still running and still racing.
Yeah, it is good to see everyone out and about, still properly trying to wring the neck of this thing. But really, really sad to see how far Kim Behait's fallen. He was having some great races. He won the first race of the evening, let's not forget, Chaz.
Yeah.
But now to see him scrobbling down for last place, it's, well, now in second to last place, but it's not what we were hoping for, and certainly not what he was hoping for after his promising start to the evening.
No, definitely not. It really isn't. I've just had another technical issue here at this end. I'm really sorry. There's a lot going on tonight, isn't there? I've had a horrendous toothache. I went to get some painkillers in me before, but I've got something else.
My screen's been going black, which is why I've had to leave earlier on in the broadcast as well. We've never had one of these broadcasts. We've only had 2 for this NEVO British F4 series, but there's always had to be some sort of technical issue.
There has, and that's just us, I guess. Simon Price is having a technical issue down at Montreal. I'm just going to put the cameras on crashes for a moment, which is just basically it looks at the most exciting cars, and it will automatically switch between. So give me a few minutes, everybody, and I'll be right back with you. Sorry about this, Ed.
That's all right, no problem. As we see now, Wayne Palmer, he's still not coming into the pits, actually. All of these drivers carrying on their way. The only driver that has pitted at this moment in time is Kane Halliburton with his pit on lap 5. So that's interesting to see how that strategy is going to work out for him. I mean, it's certainly working in his favour with that he's putting out fastest lap after fastest lap again. Another 1 minute 45.940. I see blistering lap time, and he's going to come up to the rear end of Toby Ward, who's not going to fight this, knows that the 12 car behind is much faster and just allows him through. Wayne Palmer then back up to him in 3rd place, make his way towards Agostino. No, we're not. Again, iRacing's wonderful cameras like to switch about, and as soon as I'm on one train of thought, it immediately ends it and goes on to the next. Toby Ward now right in behind Kane Halliburton, and then looking to probably save a little bit of fuel, actually, as the pit stops will be approaching within the next sort of 5 or 10 minutes, depending on how well the drivers have saved their fuel. That is when the pit window will begin to open up for them. And they can come in pretty much any time from now up until the end of the race. They've made it past the halfway point. They're definitely going to be safe on fuel at the very least. These tanks do usually last the drivers around about 20 to 25 minutes, depending on fuel usage and being able to save a lot of fuel in the slipstream. These cars can go a little bit longer. Of course, pit stops are mandatory in these races. You can't save more fuel to get away with a pit stop, not needing to take one. So drivers will need to serve mandatory pit stop. It's all about when and how they choose to do it again. All the drivers continuing on. Strategy seems to work in their favour, just to keep on going. John Tusting there in 4th place. Was for a moment right up behind Wayne Palmer, just a few laps to go, but seemingly staying in the realms of about a second, maybe 0.7 of a second back. Again, just managing the pace, managing the car, and also managing the tyres. You don't want to be too close to the cars ahead of you if you are looking after the tyres for this race, because the dirty air means you are scrubbing them a little bit more. You're sliding that little bit extra, losing that downforce, and really getting to the limits of mechanical grip, which is where you start to see a little bit of wear creeping in to the tyres and the car's performance. Listen to the sounds there of the cars just making their way through Agustin and then in towards Oggies now. The corner that we've touched on all evening long about how technical and tricky it is, especially when you're applying the power, because you're turning right. You've got a decent amount of steering lock actually for the exit of the corner as you're picking it up from a relatively slower speed, which is why we've seen so many drivers starting to struggle, as we see now. Just that point I was mentioning earlier, the drivers up in front haven't taken any stops. The only driver that's really one to look for is Kane Halliburton with his one stop, and with those lap times he's been pumping out, Kane is certainly looking like the quickest driver on track and will probably have a healthy advantage now when LaRose, Gallo, Palmer, Tusting all make their final stop, the first and only stop of this race. That I think, Chaz, that you're back now.
Yes.
We'll probably be coming in around about 5 minutes time or so.
Yeah, I was going to say it should be soon, to be honest with you, because it's a long lap around here, so we're not going to see much in the way of variation between when the guys come in. There's not going to be much of a window, to be honest with you. Yeah, apologies for that technical issue there. I'm surprised we haven't been losing frames and haven't been disconnected, because we all know how fickle Chaz's internet is and how fickle it's been for years. Well, something basically was determined to randomly start downloading an update to a game. And no matter how many times I task managed it, tried to kill it, it would not do it. And then things got more complicated when I went to reach for my escape key and knocked my drink over. So things escalated more as soon as I tried to fix the problem. But I'm back now, my drink's been mopped up, my keyboard's not got anything on it, task manager's closed, and the download isn't affecting anything, and I don't know how, because I'm at the limit of my bandwidth that I usually have. So hooray, there's full disclosure from Chaz once more. I can't feel my toothache anymore, and to be honest with you, I'm probably going to go dizzy soon with the amount of painkillers I've had. So I've been
I was going to say, can you feel anything anymore?
I've been responsible, don't worry. I've been responsible. I'm not being an idiot. I'm just saying that I've had as much as I should have, and I'm feeling fantastic. So, yeah, I can't feel the mouse under my hand. No, I'm joking. We're all golden. I love this little trio, though. We've been looking at them for a bit. Oh, no, Jean-Sebastien Larose is off, and he's in the wall. He's hit the wall from the race lead. Well, he might not love that trio now as they all come past him. Whoa, there's even drama there. Look at John Tusting. He's done it again. Cheers, boys. I'll see you in a bit. Oh, Lord. What has happened here? Let's have a look, Ed.
I think something might have happened to Dennis Gallo there as well. We're going to have a look at Jean-Sebastien Larose. Just gets it all out of shape. And then Dennis Gallo, I think, sees the incident, has one of his own in sympathy, locks up the rears. Into the back of him goes Wayne Palmer. Wayne actually, I think, might pick up a little bit of damage, which is why we see him into the pits, as does Dennis Gallo after that little bit of a tap up the rear end. So for now, John Tusting, he's going to love it when I say this, but John Tusting leads the race.
Can I just point something out? can I just point something out, right? Total time in the pit lane is about 26.4 seconds, right? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Here's John Tusting. As he goes past, he is 5 seconds ahead of Kane Halliburton. 4.8, less than 5. Kane has just been putting in demon laps. He's done a 145.5. Nobody else except Jean-Sébastien Larose has got into the 46s at any point in this race. He's 1.1 seconds quicker than the fastest lap of the race that anybody else has done. And he's continuously doing these times. It's unbelievable, the pace of Kane Halliburton. It is.
It's filthy behaviour.
And hats off to him. You know, I know we've gone on about it a lot tonight, but it's just always impressive to see, because we all know that there's some absolute aliens on iRacing that are rapid, and when you do get to see them in a fun, friendly league like this, that, you know, they show that true pace, and you get a direct comparison for it on track, you know, rather than just seeing the numbers and seeing that somebody is this much faster. You know, after a pit stop, Kane Halliburton is now 3.8 seconds behind a car that has not pitted, that before the pit stops was only like 3 seconds behind him. That's mental.
Here's John Tustin now, makes his way through Coram and Murray's. What I love as well is actually they have the sort of the corner name markers here at Snetterton, which is, it's helpful for us commentators when we go on board. Like, oh, what corners they come out to? Oh, there we go. That's handy. But to be fair, I know Snetterton like the back of my hand, which is because I'm from Norfolk, got an extra finger on it now.
It's webbed, isn't it?
Yeah, webbed. Good for swimming. Get in the wash and have a good paddle.
Indeed, mate. Toby Ward is into the pits from third. Raymond Walpott comes in from fourth. Hansy's just been off the road, so too is Wayne Palmer, and he loses a place to Jean-Sébastien Larose. Jakob Szymanski pointing out that painkillers cannot remove internal pain. Yeah, that's very true, mate. Very true. Although I class my tooth as internal. Still, we have John Tusting leading this race continuously, and that's going to be his ringtone for the next few weeks, I imagine.
Absolutely.
We actually, funnily enough, on a little bit of a tangent here, it was funny actually because it was at Snetterton when the British Boring Car Championship was on. We were lucky enough to have David Addison, who commentates on the British Touring Car Championship, GT World Challenge, and just about everything. One of the very finest commentators there's ever been. He sort of decided to tarnish his own reputation and come and commentate on the British Boring Car Championship. But one of the guys that raced in that series was a guy called Ben Lambert, a good friend of mine for many years. And Ben wasn't quick. You know, he was just in there having a bit of a laugh, enjoying it. It's a bit of a meme. And at one point, David just partway through commentating said, "Fastest lap of the race now, Ben Lambert." And that little audio clip became Ben Lambert's ringtone for about a month after the race.
Oh, I mean, you got it, yeah.
And it was just, it was an absolute meme. But, you know, these things happen. Drivers love getting the recognition, and that's one thing. Like, as a sim racer myself, I've often, before I was doing more commentary than racing, you know, I've often watched them back and just looked for moments where I'd just get a mention or just be on screen. It's just great to get that recognition. John Tustin comes in the pits, and before he's even hit the pit entry line, Kane Halliburton has re-inherited the lead. 5 minutes of the race to go. I'm intrigued to see where John Tustin comes back out on track, though, Ed, because Justin Gerritsen is the next car back, and he hasn't pitted.
Need to pit.
Yeah, he'll be back.
He will come in, so it's going to probably be down to Dennis Gallo, is where our focus will shift. And I think he's probably been able to get a good few laps in. His lap times have been all right through here. John Tustin is just on pit exit now, so it's going to be close. But I think he's done it, you know. John Tustin up into second place.
Lovely stuff. We're just going to stay on board and see what it's like through these first few corners. His tyre temperatures may have gone down slightly while he was sat in the pits, but not by too much. You just still got to be careful on your way out of the pits, because you can push it that little bit too hard so easily. But right now, John Tustin has not much of a gap over Dennis Gallo. And I mean, if we look behind us, there is Jean-Sébastien Larose, the Canadian, is going to be making more and more ground if Dennis keeps making mistakes like that. And it is really close between these pair. Further down, the two teammates, Austin Foster and Matt Alexander, swapping positions. You can see the difference that the black numbers make on the front of the cars and on the rear wings of these cars, can't you? Look at the difference.
Jean-Sébastien Larose is really putting the pressure on Dennis Gallo now as well. They were very close together. They're going to carry it on now in towards Oggies. They're so close. They almost touch into the braking zone. And all this battling has allowed John Tustin to slowly but surely eke out about half a second. Good exit there from Jean-Sébastien Larose. Now down the Bentley Straight they come for one of the few final times of this race. With only 3 minutes to go, Jean is going to go for this move up the inside in towards Brundle. It is pretty much now or never for the Canadian driver who gets the move done up into third place. And now his sights will be firmly set on the 99, John Tusting. Can he hang on?
Well, that is the question of the moment. I must say it's been a good meeting, actually, for Jean-Sébastien Larose. He did a really good job in that second race, despite having a damaged car at the end, like he said, to get P5. So if he can keep this nice and tidy and even just hold on to third position now and get a nice podium, I'm sure he will be over the moon. It was a nice tidy move on Dennis Gallo as well. Really good racing between the two of them, as Austin Foster has had a bit of a moment. I think he might have had a slowdown or something, and he's had to give the place back to his teammate Matt Alexander, who moves up into the top 10. In terms of positions gained... Oh, is Austin out of fuel?
Oh.
Sounds to me like he is. Let's go on board. Yeah, that's out of fuel. That is out of fuel for Austin Foster, so that's going to drop him down even further. But there's not been many massive gains in the field so far. The most places gained is Hans Polmans and Raymond Walpott, who have both gained 4 spots each. Hansi up into 7th place at the moment in the gorgeous Flemish Sim Sports by Viraco car. We hope all of his fans and the Flemish guys are still in chat enjoying themselves, watching the final race of the evening. We've only got a minute and 40 seconds left here, Ed, so not long now for Kane Halliburton. Probably just one more lap.
Probably, as he makes his way through Ronald Nelson then for probably the second to last time this race. Into the bomb hole. I mean, I love this last sector. It's so technical. It doesn't look it from an aerial view, but the way the corners are cambered, it's slightly sort of, I guess, flatter through here, then goes a little bit off camber to then go on camber for Murray's. It's incredibly difficult to get those corners done, especially on the brakes as well, because you're turning right while braking before quickly switching the weight over for the left-hander. It's so easily done where you see drivers just running a little bit wide or losing the rear end, and Kane Halliburton, we've not seen him put a foot wrong all evening. And for, well, this championship, this is going to be a very, very welcome result.
It is indeed. He's done very, very well so far, has Kane. And we need to just quickly look back at what's going on here with John Tusting, because look at that gap. It's actually quite the, quite the comfortable gap, actually. If anything, 1.3 seconds now. It's gone up even further. So I imagine he's not going to be too upset.
Jean-Sébastien did do a faster lap, though, 146.83, although that still won't be enough if John Tusting keeps up this pace. John Tusting's personal best of the race just on the last lap, but showing the difference in pace between the two drivers, that was a 47.2.
It's not bad at all, is it?
No, not bad at all. But when you compare Jean-Sébastien Larosa's lap of 46.8, still wasn't his best lap of the race. That does show that Jean-Sébastien is probably a little bit quicker over one lap, but the consistency of John Tusting has really been the difference maker, and now we're going to see him come through this final sector, final half of a lap. If he can just hang on, he's going to get a really good result, a second place that I'm certain he might not have been expecting coming into tonight.
Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not, but 20-odd seconds up the road into the final corner comes this man, Kane Halliburton. It's been another absolutely incredible performance, and he extends his championship lead. Very well done to Kane, and another brilliant night of points in the bag. Well done indeed. You've got to love a bit of that. And a fastest lap on the final lap to go with it, a 1:45.164. Incredible performance by Kane Halliburton. And John Tusting, well, you can't argue with that, can you? You cannot argue with that. A second place, a lot of hard work goes into the final race of the day for him, and he'll be over the moon with that. I'd give him 99 out of 100. Jean-Sébastien Larose grabs a podium. A good night for him. Dennis Gallo 4th, Wayne Palmer 5th. Those two finishing where they started the race, which, to be honest, is never a bad thing. And then behind we have Toby Ward, who seems to have been in the wars at all certain points tonight, but has managed to still make it work.
Excellent stuff from Toby Ward there, getting some more good points for Boosted Motorsport. The 66 car finishing in 6th place. And I must admit, I do actually have a little bit of a affection for the number 66, as that was the number that I always used to see my dad run when we went karting, when I used to go down to good old Kim Bolton karting track and watching my dad go around in his 250cc absolute rocket ship.
I imagine. I mean, I've not heard much about Kim Bolton in a while, to be honest with you. Still,
wonderful place, love it.
I've heard good things whenever I have heard about it, to be honest with you. But that is another night in the books, and, well, Kane Halliburton has just, well, he's prompted another visit from our wonderful fan club on YouTube. Go away, girls. But what an amazing night that is for Kane Halliburton, and another incredible victory in that final race. Over 20 seconds to the good by the time it finished. That's just... You can't get much better than that, can you?
You really can't. That's been a dominant drive from Kane Halliburton, who now secures a healthy lead in the championship after his performances tonight. Excellent stuff from the privateer driver, who does, I think, need to get snapped up to a team rather sharpish. I'm not sure if we're going to see him in Spontex colours. I know Chaz is frothing at the mouth at the prospect of that, that's for certain.
All I can hear is one of my friends, Tom Jacobs, who right now would probably say the phrase like something like "Daddy wants a snack" or something like that.
Oh.
Because Daddy does want a snack, and the snack is Kane Halliburton, and I want him in my team. Anyway,
You'll be eating good if you get him in your team, that's for certain. A full course meal of points coming your way.
yes, Ed, I like that. I like that from you. Or as my brother would say, love that from you, bruv. Anyway, enough about me being silly. Kane Halliburton takes the win in absolutely dominant fashion from John Tusting, 24 seconds back. Never mind 24 seconds back. Jean-Sebastien Larose just behind. A great night for him, to be honest with you, like I said. Dennis Gallo 4th, Wayne Palmer in 5th. That was a good performance in the end by Wayne, actually, really consistent. Toby Ward 6th, ahead of Hans Polmans, who gained a lot of places. John Barnes 8th, Raymond Walpott, very under the radar, in 9th. And then Matt Alexander in 10th. Next up was Simon Price and Justin Gerritsen. Those two must have finished very close across the line, actually, with Kimber Haight 1 lap down, Austin Foster 2 laps down, and Jakub Szymanski not classified. Now, let's have a quick look, shall we, at Simon Price. And who was it that he finished near? Justin Gerritsen. Did Justin have a problem on the final lap? Yeah, Simon must have been catching him at some point. So the checkered flag had come out just now. So Kane Halliburton had literally just crossed the line. So we've got quite a while. Let's see where the move came. Oh, it's out the final corner as well. Oh, man. So let's just go back to this. That was like a dead heat across the line. So Simon's making his way down the back straight. What does Gerritsen do here? Does he make a mistake somewhere? Through Brundle and Nelson, all right. I think it's literally just going to be the last corner, Ed.
Let's have a look here. So it's so easy done just to make a mistake. So coming in through Coram, takes a slightly wider line on the entry into it, which is not what you usually see. You usually see drivers like to keep it nice and tight. Oh, just gets a little bit of a snap as he brakes to try and get that rotation in. Locks the wrist a little bit too much with too much steering lock, and then all of a sudden,
oh, that's naughty.
That was a little bit cheeky from Justin Gerritsen, but it still didn't pay off as they come up to the line now, and just by a couple of inches. Makes all the difference.
It does.
That's what I tell everyone.
Oh, we've gone
And
up.
Simon Price gets just enough to take 11th place.
This is never getting monetized now, is it? Right then, let's have a look back.
Not after
shall
what
we?
I nearly did in the second race, that's for certain.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Right then, who can we chat to? Well, I'll tell you what. First word has to go to John Tusting, who I imagine, well, you've got to peel him off the
I think John
ceiling.
also wants his teammate Toby Ward in with him, apparently, Chaz, from what I've heard. They want to be interviewed together.
They can
Oh, that's Toby's idea.
Yeah, they can.
Toby's idea.
If it's Toby's idea, it's a bad idea. It can sod off.
Yeah, he can wait.
John, you must be absolutely beaming, mate. Like I say, what a fantastic night for you, especially with that second place at the end.
Yeah, really good. It's my home track. I live half an hour away from it, so I know it well in real life. But yeah, this is also the first race I've really had a chance to get some practice in, including for your Formula One series. So yeah, practice obviously pays off.
Well, it certainly does, mate. And I mean, it's a great track for racing. I was saying to Ed earlier, you know, Ed loves this place as well. He's not far from this place, but
About half hour out as well.
I don't know. It's never like my first pick, but the racing here is always really good. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's got a good mix of corners. Some of the fast braking zones around the bends into, well, I used to know it as the S's, and then into the final turn are just so tricky to get right that it's easy to people to make mistakes, and you gain time that way. But yeah, it's a really good fun track. Definitely, it's underrated on iRacing. They should use it more often.
Yeah, I agree on that. To be fair with you, I mean, there's a lot of series that could really benefit from racing at Snetterton, and you don't often
Cough,
see
cough,
it.
GT4s, cough, cough.
Oh
Get
yeah,
in there.
you don't often see them, to be fair, in a lot of the official championships either. So yeah, it'd be good to see them get a lot more use. Obviously, next time round in the championship, mate, 2 weeks time, we're going to be heading to Donington Park National. Now, Nevo, and as it was Sim Racers World, has a very, very good history at Donington Park. Is that a circuit you enjoy as well?
Yeah, there's another good fun one with a mixture of. I seem to be pretty good in the faster turns. The slow stuff I tend to lose time in. So there's a few of those where you just sling it in at Donington as well. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Well, we look forward to seeing how you get on as well, mate. Is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to while we've got you?
Just the Boosted guys for welcoming some of us old quantum reprobates into the fold. They've been good fun to hang around with, and it's nice to represent them in a championship and have a good evening for us.
Nicely said. Well, good to speak to you, John. Thank you very much for your time, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Oh, there we go. John Tusting, teammate of yours as well now, Ed, at Boosted.
Yeah.
And, I mean, to quote you, you say you get around a bit. So somebody that got around a bit tonight, up and down the order, all over the place. Jean-Sebastien Larose, welcome to the booth, my friend. You must be pretty chuffed, actually, to sort of recover to a third place tonight. That was all right, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it feels kind of bad to be losing second place. I think I had a pretty good pace during the feature, but yeah.
Well, it's
setup bite me in the ass in turn 9 again.
Yeah, I was going to say it's one of those circuits where it is tough to get a setup dialed in, isn't it? Because there's a lot of fast sections, but the midfield as well is just so start stop and so twisty. Was there a certain bit that you felt was a pain all night?
All night, I'd say turn 9. Really, all night. I had incidents there with everyone, basically. Well, I had an incident with 2 stopped vehicles on track, and then I picked up damage in the second sprint. And yeah.
Well, it's one of those tough circuits.
It was a pain in the ass to go through.
Yeah, I can imagine, mate. Well, rather you than me. There's a reason I'm a commentator, trust me. Still, it's not been the worst start to your season, though. You know, you're still getting these decent results and showing good pace in qualifying as well. Are you confident with the rest of the season going forward?
Yeah, obviously, I looked at everyone's iRating before the season started, and I thought I was going to be very, very midfield. Turns out I have the pace, and I gained a lot of confidence in the first 3 rounds, even though I didn't have any confidence with Snetterton during practice. But yeah, I'm really happy.
Well, that's always good to hear, mate. And like I say, me and Ed have always, I mean, we've covered a lot of leagues by now, but to be honest with you, iRating to me at the moment means nothing. But I know that a lot of people that do the officials, you know, they realise the difference it can make, even in just the people you race in officials, obviously, because that's what it's sort of set up for. But it's nice to see in leagues that it can sort of show you what your outright pace is compared to people of other iRatings, which is it's nice to hear. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to while we've got you on the air?
You mean a racer or someone in my life?
Anyone.
I'd like to shout out to my brother, actually. He died of cancer when I was very young, and I'm racing his number for this season, his favorite number. And shout out to him, because I wouldn't be here if anything really happened in my family.
Well, fair play to you, mate. I'm sorry about your loss, and it's nice to know that the sentiment lives on at least as well. So, nicely said, buddy. And obviously we'll bear that in mind as well going forward. The number as well. If there comes an important moment where the number has increased in significance in the championship, so we'll see. But thank you for joining. Sorry.
Thank you for your amazing commentating. I've never really watched any esports lives, but these are just out of the ballpark, really.
That's very kind. Thank you very much, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Well done tonight on your results as well, and we look forward to seeing you at Donington Park, mate. Have a good one.
Yeah, good luck.
You too.
Cheers. Lovely words there from Jean-Sebastien Larose, and it's always nice to hear stories about car numbers and things like that. And obviously, it's I mean, we are obviously sorry for his loss from when he was a lot younger, of course, but still, it's just nice to see that a legacy like that can live on, isn't it, Ed? Even in sim racing as well, you know, it's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot of difficult thing for people to realise, but the people racing aren't just, you know, names on a screen. They are actually people with lives, you know, so it's great to see them sort of translating that through from their lives into the virtual world, and they might say, "Oh, it's only a virtual race; it's not real." But it means a lot to people. It means a lot to me whenever I have a good race in sim racing. It's always a lot better whenever I have a bad race. I'm usually beating myself up about it, and it's not a great time. So this is a real deal, and it's great to see drivers carrying on sentiments from the real world into the virtual, and racing for those sentiments. And I think, Chaz, do we have time for a couple more interviews? There are so many drivers lining up to have a chat with us, so it'd be a shame not to have a chat to. Well, let's bring in this man, Simon Price, who had a bit of a topsy-turvy race up and down all evening long, but ending it on, well, a very dramatic high note there, right at the line, just, 0.2 of a second, not even that, 0.02 of a second ahead of Justin Gerritsen there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't exactly call it the most auspicious of starts, particularly because I took out Mr. Tusting, who invited me to come and join this championship. But
that's one way to thank him.
I think I just didn't expect to be starting that high up the order. And obviously, first time nerves, a bit of inexperience. I was just a bit too wide going into the first corner, and just lost it, and then collected several people.
Well, these things happen, mate. I mean, to be honest with you, if I counted the amount of times where I've ended up on like reverse grid pole position in a GT car or something and then binned it at turn 1, I'd be a very, very rich man if I had a quid, mate. But these things happen, and it comes with experience in sim racing. How did you find tonight overall? Did you feel like you improved every single lap, or was there sort of any development?
Do you know what I did? I think it was quite good to have a massive shunt right at the start, because then I was just able to, look, you're not here to try and win anything, you're not here for, just take what points you can get. And I just kind of settled into a nice rhythm, particularly in the feature race. I'm not the quickest of drivers, but when I've got my head down, I can be fairly consistent. So it was just nice to be able to get some consistent laps in and finish.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of the battle won is just finishing some races like this sometimes, and especially in leagues, it can be really cutthroat stuff. But it's character building stuff, especially on the sim itself, isn't it? To sort of have this experience, it feels different to official races, doesn't it?
Oh, very much so. And I think I've probably gathered a crap ton of character tonight. But my experience in iRacing is only about a year long, and this is probably one of the cleanest sessions I've ever been in. So it's nice to be around really good, talented drivers who are respectful. I hope I was respectful in the first race after the incident, and I was just letting people through because I didn't want to tangle anyone else up. But yeah, it's a world apart from kind of a standard official race.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it just shows again the importance of league racing on iRacing and just the organisation side of it. You can do so much more with it, and it's nice to see that drivers like yourself, you've not been on iRacing forever, but still people coming in and enjoying the show. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to tonight, Simon, before we wrap this up?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been catching up on the previous races, and I love the work you guys are doing. It's a very professional looking setup. It's part of the reason I was convinced to come along, because it's really nice to be a part of some of that well done. I'd like to thank Jakob for giving me a chance, and also not kicking me out straight away after the first lap. And yeah, just once again to John for inviting me along. I've known John for a very long time, and we've not been in touch for a very long time either. So it's really nice to be out on the track and just seeing how good he is. Got a long way to go to try and catch up, I think.
Well, it's certainly good to see you coming into it, mate, and we hope that the rest of the season is continued development for you. We'll see you at Donington Park in 2 weeks' time, mate. Have a good evening.
Absolutely. Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers. Oh, I'm all blushed. We're getting a lot of kind words tonight, Ed. It's a lot of people really enjoying our work, which is good. And considering I mean, I'm admittedly, full disclosure again, I've messaged you halfway through saying that I'd been terrible tonight because of my issues and moving around.
But I've had technical issues as well.
But still, people like what we do, and that's the main thing. And we're here to enjoy ourselves. Yeah, we're here to enjoy it as well, and to bring you good coverage, everybody. We hope that we do that. I think that we don't do a bad job for a two-man band. I think we do all right. And, well, if you want to catch up more of it, of course, we have Donington in 2 weeks' time. What can we expect from there, Ed? Because we've both covered and been involved in some really, really cool races around that track.
Carnage. Absolutely no. In all honesty, there's going to be fast, high-speed racing. Donington Park, it's always an excellent venue for racing. We've had some amazing races, amazing battles throughout the years. Was it GP or the National?
National, the best one.
Okay, the good one.
Yeah,
the
good
fast,
one.
With the fast chicane, that's going to be... I mean, that chicane is going to be really key as well, because if you get it all wrong coming into Redgate, you're going to be under a lot of pressure down that start-finish straight. So that's going to be very interesting to see how the drivers navigate that, especially with how stiff the cars are. Usually, if you're in a GT car, you absolutely monster the sausage curbs. Can't do that here. It's going to be really exciting to see what the drivers make of Donington Park in just 2 weeks' time, Chaz.
It will be indeed. But that is all we have time for this evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us here on Chaz Draycott Media for the NEVO British F4 Series from Snetterton. As Ed said, we will catch you in 2 weeks' time at Donington Park. But for now, have yourselves a wonderful evening, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Good night.
Opportunistic, still rubbing panels as they go together. It's folded the wing mirror in on Gerardo's car.
Misano is such a difficult circuit for these guys to get right. There's a lot of start-stop sections around the back. It's a very, very quick section as well.
It's a fantastic start from the 23. They're 4 wide there by the look of it.